I just wanted to first of all welcome you to a new year of Master the Music. So I'm hopefully by now all of you are getting settled into your school schedules, and we are finally getting to the point where our scheduling at Master the Music is done. We still have a few people trying to find some times, which is good. We've hired a new teacher, Miss Rhonda, and Miss Rhonda's a fantastic lady, comes with a lot of experience of many years of teaching, and she's a lot of variety of teaching as well, not just music, but she teaches science classes to little ones at one of the museums, the Museum of Natural Science and History in Fort Worth. And so she just loves working with little ones, especially. So she's going to be a great joy to have as part of our team. And I'm actually on the hunt even for another teacher. So Master of Music is growing. We're doing well. First of all, I'm just going to go through a couple of general studio policies. When you come and go, just lesson times, please try to arrive a few minutes early. Our teachers are trying their best to start on time within a couple of minute time frame. And we recently have had some lessons that start to get stacked a little bit later, and that just goes from not being able to finish on time, or if you really need to speak with a teacher after a student's lesson, we either need to do that 5 minutes before the end of the lesson, or you could just arrange a phone call or text later, because that can sometimes get us backlogged and not starting the next student on time. So we try to really keep those lessons on time, and I know a lot of you are a little patient with us. Sometimes if we go 5 minutes over, it's usually just because we got backlogged 5 minutes over. So, but if there's ever any problem, just let me know about it first and foremost, and you can talk with your teacher as well. But hopefully we keep that running pretty smoothly. For those students that come early, I really would recommend you going back to the keyboard room. It's a perfect place to start warming up for your lessons. If your lesson starts and your child's been able to warm up already, they're already in playing mode. So that actually saves a few minutes at the beginning of a lesson, because oftentimes the student just, sits down and it takes them a while to kind of get their brain ready to play for us. Sometimes that goes in the way of just a little bit more time spent on technique, or this or that. So if they get there 5 minutes early, send them to the back. They should know to go straight back to the keyboard room and start warming up with the keyboards back there. There's headphones on most of those. If there's not, just they can ask where some headphones are, or they could just have the volume very soft and they can play if there's no headphones available. But I think there are. But I think that's great, and I want to encourage that. It's a perfect place to start warming up so that the lesson can be more productive. Yeah, and then if there's just something parents have, need to talk or ask about, just send a text to your teacher or to me. I do want to reiterate, and I've said this probably individually to many of you in the past, that we have an open lesson door policy. It's an open door policy, which basically means you can come and go into the lesson whenever you want. You don't have to knock. You shouldn't have to knock. In fact, if you knock, that bothers us. So don't knock. Just come on in. You should just be able to come in and just sit there if you want for a minute and then leave, and come and go as you please, because I do want you involved in seeing what your kid is doing in lessons, and I do want you involved to see the dynamic between the teacher and the student. I think it's nice to see that. Now, I also do agree that a lot of times, sometimes the parent in the room is disruptive for this child or for the student. It's kind of a rare thing, I think. I think most of the time the kids are good with parents, but every so often a kid, does better without the parents in the room. And so you be the judge of that. And if there's any issues at all, obviously our teacher will talk to you as well to kind of work out the solution. But for the most part, feel free, come and go. You should be able to just come open the door and sit on the couch, or whatever you need to do to just kind of know what's going on. And there's at the ends of lessons, we try to always print out a sheet, your lesson notes. Please try to make a point to take those, because I've been fine over the last 6 months. I've found half of them just lying on the printer, and they just end up floating around the studio. So ideally, the lesson notes are for the student to put on the piano so they know exactly what to practice. And so those lesson notes are really important for the students. So just make a point to try to remember to take those. If the lesson notes were not printed, you can ask the teacher for it, and they should be able to do it immediately. At the very least, if for whatever reason you forget those notes, they're available on My Music staff. If hopefully you've gotten onto that and can see the portal and see access to the calendar. You have all of the lesson notes there. You can print that out. And you should print it out for your student once again. If they don't have a copy of that, they need it on the piano so they know exactly from start to finish what they're supposed to be practicing. We also are going to have this year available, it's kind of been off and on, but we're going to have iPads for note naming and theory. And so if a student does arrive a few minutes early, or especially if they stay a few minutes late, we might just stick them on the iPads and have them practice note naming and or scale construction and things like that. So, if they're late, they're going to start doing theory, and that's going to be a great thing, just extra practice for them. The coffee machine is for everybody. I try to clean it regularly, weekly, and I do a deep cleaning every 2 or 3 months. So I drink more coffee than anybody, so I want that to be in good shape. So, but feel free to use it, and if you have a particular favorite, you can request it. I will make sure that we keep it stocked with whatever you like. And the candy machine has been a great thing in the studio, a good incentive for students. A couple of students like to try to get their candy before their lesson, so I try to urge the parents to wait as an incentive for a good lesson afterward. Then they can have that. But it's a good incentive, so feel free to use that machine. And once again, I regularly upkeep that machine, and I'm about to put some chocolate M&Ms in it. So I want to really just briefly talk about what practice is, what constitutes a practice and good practice. I've gotten a lot of questions lately about, well, how long should they practice? They tell me after 5 minutes they're done. Um, so 5 minutes is not long enough. And what constitutes probably one practice for me, it mostly is that sheet that we print out for you. And if for whatever reason it takes them too long to get through that sheet, or they can't concentrate through that. Let's say they've been working on it, especially younger students, for 15, 20 minutes. You can give them a break and have them come back to it later. And hopefully they should be able to get through that sheet. And that sheet we'll formulate that with more or less as needed. But usually it's that sheet. And if they finish it in 5 minutes, then they're not doing enough repetition. And the example that I like to give is LeBron James, because I was in Cleveland the year he was drafted out of high school. And I know LeBron James doesn't go to practice and shoots one basket, and it's the most beautiful basket in the world. Swoosh, swoosh right in, and he declares practice is over because he can't get any better than that. I know your students are like, I already know it. I can do it already. And chances are they just need to do it, 10 more times. And so if they're not practicing long enough, it's simply a matter of repetition. I was reminded with my daughter, Maddie, her batting practice at softball. In a half hour, she must have hit 100 balls. And she never once asked, well, do I have to do it again? I just did it. But yet in music, for whatever reason, we have a completely different idea of what makes quality and what makes greatness. So we have to have repetition, good, healthy repetition. And we shouldn't get upset about that. And so I try to encourage the students, look, this is just normal if you want to be good at anything. And I tell the kids a lot of my Bruce Lee quote, which is, I fear not the man who's kicked 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who's kicked one kick 10,000 times. And I do believe that is kind of what we're aiming for. At Master of Music, we're all about note reading and getting the kids ready to do anything with music. If they want to play flute, if they want to play double bass, if they want to go and sing, if they just want to be able to play the rest of their lives, we want to equip them with that. But that takes healthy repetition of being able to do it. And the skills that we build absolutely are like a athlete. So we have to build that through healthy repetition. And there's no other way to do it. So that's really for me what a practice is. So the student tells you they're done way too soon. They need to practice more repetition. And your teacher will help you through that. So I want to talk about the makeup policy and how that's going to change now. So this definitely affects everybody. In the past, we've been really pretty lenient because we've been able to, time-wise, with makeup lessons. So, I mean, the policy's always been 48 hours. Give us notice and we'll arrange a makeup lesson for that lesson. Within that, it's kind of dicey. Late cancellations usually do not earn a makeup credit. I don't like that policy, but yet it's designed to protect our teachers and kind of the schedule. But also, it creates kind of a problem when a lot of people start having makeups, and then that creates a problem in the schedule because our teachers, a couple of them drive quite a ways, and they're only here a couple of days a week, and so it just creates a difficulty in scheduling and having enough slots available for all of these makeups. Rather, it's much better for students to have consistency in their lessons and to make sure that they're going. So, the way that we're going to handle this now, and actually I think it's going to benefit and be a positive thing, is any missed lesson at all by a student will earn a makeup class credit. And that means even late cancellations. If you just can't get there that day, or you just like, the traffic is bad, or we forgot our music. Well, if you forget your music, we have all your music, so just come anyway. But if just something happens, you can attend that day. Um, Rather than us say, oh, late cancellation, you don't get anything for that. We're going to give you a makeup class credit, and the classes are going to be offered 2 or 3 times a month at various times. Well, they'll be, no, not always at the same time. They'll move around a little bit just to give everybody a chance to have a chance to go. They're 1 hour classes, and they are going to cover anything from theory to history. It'll be a mini performance class. It might be guided practicing. There might be, snippets of historical movies that we're playing, performances. And it really just depends on the students that are present for this. And I really think this is going to be a fantastic way to build community within the studio, offering makeups in the past that we wouldn't have. And it's also going to give me, because I'll be teaching most of these classes, it'll offer me a chance to have oversight in all of the students. So any students coming in for these makeup classes, I'll be able to kind of monitor and see what they're doing. I'll be able to work with them a little bit. If it's close to theory time, we'll be working on theory. And so these classes will actually be a really big benefit and help to all students that are able to participate in that. So that's how we're handling makeups now. Any teacher missed classes will absolutely be made up. You don't have to worry about that, and not through classes either. So if a teacher just misses for whatever reason, if they get sick or something happens with the schedule, those will be made up, and we'll schedule those at a convenient time for you and the teacher. Hopefully that's minimal. Most of the time, if a teacher is going to miss a day, we try to sub in another teacher so that there is uninterrupted lessons, because it's really bad for a student to go a couple of weeks without a lesson. So we're going to be really just trying to be consistent as possible with that. Sometimes it'll be me stepping in for other teachers. So if you have questions about the makeup policy, I can take questions at the very end, but that's basically it. We just have the two different kinds of makeups. A teacher missed class is going to be a makeup for sure, private lesson, one-on-one, and then any student missed lessons are going to be class makeup credits. Let's talk about the schedule of events, and I'm going to focus. I'll briefly go through the spring ones, but I want to focus mostly on what's happening this fall and upcoming. So hopefully everybody got a copy. I just sent it 15 minutes before the meeting, and I'm going to continue to refine this. It's a work in progress, but it has a lot of information, and it doesn't even have all of the events I'd like to be on here, but it has most of the good ones. So the theory test, you know what it is. It's just a really good benchmark for our students' musical knowledge, and they should be testing at their grade level. Students who take this test through high school are already doing collegiate level theory. It's really important that our students kind of have this superior knowledge. And the theory test is something that's administered throughout the state. So you have thousands of kids taking the theory test twice a year. Um, and it's a pretty cool thing. I think in Mid Cities Music Teachers Association alone, we have anywhere from 300 to 400 take it in the fall, and the same in the spring. So it's quite a big deal. The students all convene in one location for the theory test. This time it's going to be on November 8th. Just so you know, they usually will do a makeup theory test on the day after, the 9th, in the afternoon. Now, that's is not a set thing. I will definitely push, since I'm still a board member of MCMTA, I'll push to make sure we still have that. So in case you sign up for the theory test and you're like, oh no, we have something happening now that day, we can't make that time, we can push you to the 9th, the very next day, and they do a makeup theory test. And that's for both dates. If you can't take the one in the fall, you can take it in the spring in February. Same thing then, February 1st and 2nd. The next event is going to be our outdoor musicale in the park. This is our fourth year, no, fifth year to do it. This is our fifth year to do it. We used to do it in a big field behind our house a couple of houses ago, but now we're doing it in Northfield Park at the Barfield Pavilion. This is our third year to do it there, and so really everybody should be involved in this, and everybody should dress up in a costume. Parents, you can dress up in costumes, you just won't be considered for the prize. Only students performing are considered for the costume contest. But there's lots of fun things to do there. We're going to have photo spots. We're going to have dollar hot dogs again, and just it's you get to hear a lot of fun performances. So definitely come to that. We'll have a sign up on my music staff, and the things Master of the Music events like that are always free. We just want as much participation and fun as possible. And then the other big thing, I guess, is going to be the Fall Festival. Fall Festival is held at TCC. This is a event for all ages, even if it's your first year to play piano. Oftentimes, depending on what book you're in, oftentimes this is an event you can already do. And this at TCC, you go in and you play, and there's a very nice judge, usually nicer than me, who will write a page of critique and some really positive feedback. And then they give you a rating, and the top ratings get to play in the honors recital and take home a trophy. So that's a really great event, especially for students who are now needing to try dipping their toes into things a little bit more than just. And then we have our original composition deadline is November 1st. Anybody who took part in the composition summer camp we offered already has a piece written, and you can submit that, and we can just refine that over the next month or so. So the deadline for that is coming up. That's a great event. We had several local winners and we had a couple of state winners this past year, so that's really exciting. And besides that, November's our busy month with the Fall Theory Test on November 8th and the Fall Festival at TCC on the 22nd. Couple of you on this call right now are probably interested in the performance contest, which is on February 1st this year. Deadline for that September or December 15th. That is very important. And you can see in my list of things, I kind of list underneath each, it says SA membership required. Quickly, student affiliate is simply a student membership into TMTA, Texas Music Teachers Association. Um, so the Mid-Cities Music Teachers is a local association of the Texas Music Teachers Association, and Texas is a state organization of the Music Teachers National Association, MTNA. And so it all fits together very nicely, but a student affiliate is simply a student membership. So any students wanting to participate in TMTA sponsored events um, need to have a student affiliate membership. And it's $17 for the year. You only pay it one time. You don't pay it per event. But each event has its own entry fee usually. But sometimes some of the events like the local performance contest has the theory test requirement. You have to take the theory test and pass it in order to be able to compete. So I tried to include that information. So if you have any questions on that with any of these things. And then just from there, I think you could probably go through this list and see when things are happening. Our Christmas extravaganza date and time will be announced. It's hopefully going to be on the 19th or 20th. And it's so late just because we utilize Fort Worth Christian School and their beautiful auditorium. We keep a 7-foot grand piano there that we use on stage. And it's a beautiful space, and hopefully that'll work out, but I don't know which day it's going to be yet, so that'll be announced. But that's always our Christmas piano party. Notice I always call them piano parties. I don't really call them recitals, especially for the young kids. And I will just finally say, just in terms of recital and event preparation, number one, we're not going to use photocopies in concerts this year. There's a couple of events, particularly the contests at TCC and the performance contest that require memorization. But all of our Masters of Music events, the outdoor musicale in October, our Christmas recital, even our spring gala formal, we don't require memorization for those. So if a student just needs to use music on that, that's totally fine. But this year, I'm discouraging the teachers to allow them to use photocopies on stage. Number one, it just doesn't look good. It looks very amateur, and we just want it to be buttoned up. We want original copies, and students need to start building their library anyway of pieces they've played. And it's very tempting to always make photocopies of just books we have in our library, but the student doesn't really build a library that way. And oftentimes, whatever book that piece came from, they could be playing 3 or 4 pieces in that book. And I remember as a young child, one of the most fun things to do is when I got a new book with my new piece in it, is play all of the other pieces in that book as I was learning my piece I was supposed to be learning. So just that exploratory thing of seeing what else is in the book and so forth. But building the library and also the copyright issue. As a composer myself, I'm more and more aware in our digital age, it's so easy to kind of bypass that. So we definitely want to kind of stick to copyright laws, and we will make photocopies of pieces if we want to keep the original in pristine shape. So if you buy a book and you're going to use that book for an event or a contest, it's okay to make a photocopy of that so that you can write all over it, fingerings or whatever, and then you have a clean copy, original score to give to the judge later. But for the most part, we're going to stick away from making photocopies of everything, and certainly not for recitals, because the last thing we want to see is a young student kind of losing pages on the floor, and just pages that are bent in half and things like that. So we shouldn't have that problem this year. I don't want to keep you longer than we need to, so if you do think of questions after today, or you're looking at the sheet and you're just like, oh, we didn't ask about this, feel free to just text me or email me, call me, whatever. As I always say, no matter who's teaching whom, I'm the doctor on call. You're welcome to text or call me at any time. So, okay. Well, I will call this meeting to a close, and you're welcome to join on Wednesday, but you don't have to. So, but
Thank
thank you
you.
for being here, and I look forward to seeing all of you again very soon.